Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for attending our City Council meeting tonight. We certainly appreciate your attendance. Today is Tuesday, September 6th, and we'll start our meeting by introducing you to your City Council.
Council members Kiley.
Here.
Neitzert.
Here.
Rolfing. Selberg.
Here.
Starr.
Here.
Staley.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Councilors, thank you very much. Appreciate that. In Sioux Falls, we lead our City Council meetings with an invocation, a blessing. And we're very, very pleased to have, for the very first time, Pastor Fred Wilgenberg with New Roots Ministry here in Sioux Falls. Pastor Fred, thank you for joining us tonight. What we'd ask you to do is to stand for the invocation, and then please remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Fred.
Let us pray. Gracious God, it's good to be here with you this evening, and even better that you're here with us. People here, many people here this evening, our God, with much passion, passion for the City of Sioux Falls, and I'm sure for what each feels is most important in the best way forward for this city and for their neighborhoods. So we just ask that you would bless the discussion, that each of us can be respectful and just share and guide our thoughts and our words. And so thank you for all these people gathered. Bless the council and the mayor. Thanks for their hard work on behalf of the city. And again, as we bring passion and just a deep love for this city, would you guide our discussion? We ask you to please bless with safety and fulfillment in their work our firemen and women, all police officers, all city workers. May they be safe and be fulfilled in their work. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. I do have two proclamations I'd love to read on the city's behalf. Is Taylor and Janet, are you here? Janet, welcome. Taylor, please come forward. Thank you. Janet, welcome. Would you mind introducing yourself as well as Taylor? Let us know why you're here tonight.
Sure. My name is Janet Canozali. I'm the president of the Helpline Center, and it's National Suicide Prevention Week, which is what brings us here tonight.
And my name is Taylor Funky, also with the Helpline Center.
The proclamation reads, whereas one person in the United States dies by suicide every 12.3 minutes, whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in our country and the second leading cause of death among young people between the ages of 15 and 24. Whereas suicide is the 9th leading cause in death overall in South Dakota, and the second leading cause of death among people under age 35 in South Dakota. Whereas it is estimated that there are over 1 million people in the United States who are survivors of suicide loss each year. Whereas there were 141 deaths by suicide in South Dakota in 2014. Whereas 25 people right here in Minnehaha County lost their lives to suicide in 2015. Whereas in 2015, the Helpline Center in Sioux Falls answered 1,786 suicide-related calls through 211 and the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Whereas our community can work together to reduce the stigma associated with mental illness and suicidality, and encourage people at risk to seek life-saving help. Whereas the Helpline Center, as the only crisis line in South Dakota, accredited by the American Association of Suicide Ideology, is dedicated to reducing the frequency of suicide attempts and deaths, and the pain of survivors affected by suicides of their loved ones, through their suicide prevention, intervention, and aftercare efforts. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim September 5th through 11th of this year as Suicide Prevention Week in Sioux Falls. Taylor, Janet, thanks for being here tonight. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Bethany, is Bethany Olson here tonight? Bethany, welcome. Thank you. Bethany, thank you. Would you mind introducing yourself to the people of our town, please? Thank you.
Hi, I am Bethany Olson. I'm here on behalf of the Sanford Health Foundation and Sanford Children's Cure Kids Cancer, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
The proclamation reads, whereas reports show cancer is the leading cause of death by disease among children in the United States and is detected in more than 15,000 of our nation's young people every year. Whereas Sanford Children's Hospital in Sioux Falls is designated as South Dakota's only children's oncology group hospital and is dedicated to helping these children and their families. Whereas Sanford Children's Hospital is home to the state's only Cure Kids Cancer program and provides a variety of vital patient and family services to children undergoing cancer treatment, therefore enhancing the quality of life for these children and their families. Whereas, like other forms of cancer, childhood cancer has an international symbol, the gold ribbon. This symbol is being introduced to our region with the goal of uniting together to fight childhood cancer and create awareness about its devastating toll on children and their families. Whereas the goal of Cure Kids Cancer is to make a difference in the lives of childhood cancer patients, childhood cancer survivors, and their families, as well as memorializing those childhood cancer victims who have earned their angel wings. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim September 2016 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Sioux Falls. Bethany, thank you. Appreciate it. Councilors, thank you for that opportunity. And I would like to, there's a recognition award, and I would like to turn over to Council Vice Chair Rick Kiley.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Mayor and City Council, tonight I am pleased to introduce this portion of our agenda where 3 South Dakotans, all part of our Sioux Falls community, are among the 10 2016 inductees to the South Dakota Hall of Fame. The honor ceremony will take place this Friday and Saturday in Chamberlain. To talk a little more about the Hall of Fame and to introduce the area inductees is Dave Olson, past chair and current member of the South Dakota Hall of Fame Board of Directors. Dave.
Which way do I?
You may face the audience.
The South Dakota Hall of Fame has a mission of championing a culture of excellence in South Dakota, and we feel we're uniquely positioned to do that. Our inductees from all over the state are separated by geography and gender and politics and vocation and avocation. But what they all have in common is they've demonstrated excellence that made them rise to the level that they were elected as one of the 10 each year into the South Dakota Hall of Fame. I can proudly tell you that I'm from Sioux Falls, and we have over 40 members in the South Dakota Hall of Fame that are from Sioux Falls. Today we have, I see 2 Sioux Falls inductees that I'd like to recognize, Dr. Lauren Cheddar and Mary Olinger. Could you just at least wave? Congratulations and thank you. We have 3 inductees from Sioux Falls. One is here tonight. Unfortunately, the others cannot make it, but I would like to introduce Dr. Lauren Cheddar, who will introduce our newest inductee. Dr. Cheddar.
Well, Betty, I think I'll have you come up, if you would. Well, it's my privilege to introduce 3 members, and I'm sorry that 2 are not here. They are Joellen Kerner, Elizabeth, or as I know her, Betty Meyer, and this is Betty, and Christine Hamilton. I'll start with Betty since you're here, Betty. So Betty is active in the breast health arena, and she's being nominated as a hero and pioneer of breast health programming in this region. She helped establish mammography in this region, and then she helped establish the Breast Health Institute, obviously with the help of others too. And she was very active in having a mandate passed through the state legislature for insurance coverage of mammography. This took 3 years, and Betty has an interesting story about that, but we won't go into that tonight. Joellen Kerner, to mention Joellen, was in charge of nursing at Sioux Valley, or now we call it Sanford, and she's presently CEO of a company that operates medical clinics in the cloud, which are able to be active anywhere in the world. She's being inducted for fostering high standards in South Dakota patient care. And the third is Christine Hamilton, who lives downtown in the old Carpenter building. And she's from a family mid-state, long involved in ranching. She's in charge of a family foundation, involved in rural development, and she's involved in a biotech company, a local biotech company here, that produces antibodies in cows that can help treat various diseases. And this currently is in a phase 1 study through the National Cancer Institute. She's an advocate for excellence in agricultural and rural development. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce these three people who will be inducted into the South Dakota Hall of Fame, or as I prefer to say, the South Dakota Hall of Excellence. For some reason, I like that name a little better, I think. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thanks for representing our city so well. We appreciate that as well. Thank you. All right, we'll now move on to our consent agenda. Council, any changes, motions, discussions about the consent agenda?
Move to approve, Neitzer.
Second.
Councilor Neitzert's made a motion to approve our consent agenda tonight, seconded by Vice Chair Kiley. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzert,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Our regular agenda tonight, any motions, changes to that?
Move to approve, Erpenbach. Second, Erickson.
Councilor Bach's made a motion to approve our agenda tonight, seconded by Councilor Erickson. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzert,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
That has also passed 7-0. Thank you. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We're pleased to have everybody here tonight. This is a great opportunity for you to engage the council, really on any topic that is of interest to you in our city. If it is an agenda item later on the agenda, and it's a second reading, for example, or a resolution, we'd ask you to hold off until that time. However, if it's a first reading or any other topic that's of interest to you, please just come forward. Really only 2 rules. We'd ask you to introduce yourself to the people of our city. And then number 2, please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. The council will appreciate that. Would anybody like to speak to the council? Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Welcome back after a nice holiday weekend and summer. My name is Tony Burke. I live at 804 North Caleb Avenue. Over the summer, there's been many conversations and meetings that have continued in our neighborhood in Oakview with city staff, with the Browns, and the developers. Many of our residents are here tonight. Our goal as a neighborhood continues to be the same, focusing on what is best for the Oakview neighborhood, the property owners of Lacey Estates, the developers, and the city as a whole. With the most recent compromise proposal presented to the neighborhood, understand you may not have officially seen that proposal, we feel several issues are still not addressed. Density. Although developers propose 44 less units, there are 2 more buildings. Is this really less density? A graphical depiction of areas in Sioux Falls, which we'll share next week, visually shows the Oakview area has more apartments per mile radius adjacent to any elementary school than the rest of the city by a large amount. Is this good planning? Based on the Shape Sioux Falls plan, shouldn't we be planning growth equally throughout the city? Water. Although a detention pond was suggested in the compromise plan, The visual provided was a beautiful water feature. Many neighbors were offended by this rendering. As we all know, detention ponds are not water features. As well, no report on water runoff and detention has been provided to date. Traffic. We've yet to see traffic studies. As school started today, we have already seen anecdotally an increase in traffic. The PATH Committee has also expressed concerns that Annie Sullivan pedestrian traffic has been on their radar for years without any measurable improvements. In the compromise, a proposed realignment of 6th and Bonson was presented. Is the city willing to put this in the budget this year? If no, when? And of course, safety. We do appreciate the increased presence of Sioux Falls' finest, and we're still seeing break-ins, speeding, etc. in the area. Overall, general safety is a concern for all citizens, and increasing density when studies are not completed is not good planning. And as far as the planning process is concerned, on several occasions, information was requested from the city on how to determine the compatibility matrix. To date, there has been no information shared on what questions they ask, what the scale represents, etc. In summary, we once again thank you for your leadership and your active listening to focus on the proposed rezoning. The compromise, which was supposed to calm concerns of the neighborhood, actually did the opposite and grew opposition quickly. Now, over 210 property owners, your neighbors, believe the best interest of all stakeholders, the Browns, Lloyds, and the neighborhood, is to vote down this proposed rezoning next week. In closing, as one neighbor said, and I quote, "If the council ignores the concerns of so many citizens and allows for the rezoning, they'll be setting a precedent as to whether any neighborhood in Sioux Falls is safe in regards to having input into shaping the area they live in. And that all citizens should understand that big money rules in favor of concerns of the average citizen." Thank you.
Tony, thank you. Tony, can I, folks, folks, I apologize. You can't do that, please. Tony, thank you. Appreciate it. Tony, I'm sure not everybody is planning on speaking tonight, but we would be interested. Who is here from the neighborhood? Just raise your hand, please. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thank you. Tony, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great job. Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Meilenberg, and I live at 1209 South Jefferson, Sioux Falls. Tonight I want to remind you that we live in a democracy, and in a democracy people have a right and expect a right to vote and a voice. Since the American Revolution, Americans have passionately desired and fought for that right to vote. Many have indeed given their lives for that right to vote. Now the citizens of Sioux Falls are asking you to honor and support their right to a voice and a vote. Those of you who would consider denying citizens that right need to rethink your promise to the people and your oath to represent all the citizens. Please honor the veterans who have given their lives for the citizens' right to a voice and a vote. Please support for the people's right in a democracy. Vote and support for the people's right in a democracy to a voice and a vote on the proposed administration building.
Thank you, Liz. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Welcome, please. Or Commissioner Colby? Welcome.
Mr. Colby, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Stop the Funding drive, the petition drive just completed, was accomplished in almost record time.
Ma'am, if you could just introduce yourself to the people of our town, please. Thank you.
Dunn. Yes, thank you. The Stop the Funding petition drive was completed in record time. It was an uphill battle from the moment it started. We in Sioux Falls have seen this administration and its allies lock the gates of power to keep we, the citizens, out unless we could pay to play. We are seeing ever more expensive projects forced on us without a sound plan to pay for them. This office building and other abuses of the second penny sales tax will cause Sioux Falls to suffer for many years to come. Is this progress? Is this progressive? We are taking a big chunk of our street budget for the next 20 years for an unnecessary office building. J.R. Murray, a citizen of Sioux Falls, said, "I have heard the stop petition funding was denied. Well, petition or no petition, our city government knows what the voters want. Yet it sounds as if 3 or 4 people are making this decision. There are still military personnel losing their lives to protect the right to vote. It really does not seem fair that a few people can ignore all that is given for the vote and choose what they want and ignore the will of the people." Our petition drive was started and supported by citizens who request a place at the table with major decisions facing the city. It is our right based on the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. Rather than threaten our city's future on egos, we ask the City Council to demand a public vote on the bonding. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Appreciate it. Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Ms. Colby? Miss? Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bev Deutsch, and I am following and agreeing with the lady just before me. As a tax-paying citizen of Sioux Falls, I became aware that a large sum of money was going to be spent on a brand-new administration building. I became very passionate that something like this should go to a public vote. I spent countless hours visiting with people. I heard many stories from the people I met. Most people who signed my petition said, "Thank you for doing what you are doing. This needs to go to a public vote." Some people signed it because they are in favor of the new building, but it should still go to a vote first. The out-of-towners, many of them who drove quite a ways, were still in our district. They wish they could sign it because they believed it should go to a vote. The citizens are very concerned over this. They went out of their way to sign the petition. We even had a drive-up event where they drove downtown to sign the petition. The people also pulled off of Minnesota Avenue near 41st in rush hour traffic to be able to sign the petition and voice their opinion that it needs to go to a public vote. In all of our hours gathering signatures and talking to people, there is one common thread, and that is to be allowed to vote for this. This should absolutely go to a vote of the people. The people of Sioux Falls are excited to put this to a public vote to have more knowledge and a say in it, instead of the mayor and the council deciding on this very important issue by themselves. That's not a democracy. Please let the Sioux Falls citizens have a voice in this very important issue. Otherwise, what have we got for the future? The whole nation votes for everything, and that's what all we're asking on this. And thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Deutsch. Appreciate it. Welcome. Ms. Colby?
I see Manny Steele coming up, and I think I'm at least as good looking as him, so I won't let him come before me. Robert Colby. Anyhow, back to the issue. Many years ago, and some of us have gray hair and can remember when we had 3 city council members, and the old adage was you only had to buy 2 of them. Well, we progressed, City of Sioux Falls moved on. We had then 5 council members, and there were 3 to 2 was the way the vote, and then the local people would say, well, you had to buy 1 more than you used to have. And we've moved on to the strong mayor system. Well, I have a bias and prejudice, having served for a few years in a system where you had 5 people who represented the same constituency, and each person had an equal vote. And I always look upon the city council and the mayor as being the checks and balances. One proposes something and the other one decides what to do with it and how to operate. There are several ways that you can operate as a city council. You can become like the Republicans in the Senate and become a Stonewall. or you can become like the Democrats in Texas and absent yourself from the meetings because nothing gets done unless there's a majority of the people sitting at the dais as you are here. So you have a choice. And if you chose not to show up for particular meetings, no business would be transacted. And if no business is transacted, that's a leverage point that you can use as a check and balance. You can also do things through Robert's Rules of Order. You might review such things as the move to adjourn, check that out, or to table an issue. You can either put a date with it, or you can leave it ad for infinity or in perpetuity. But it's a check and balance system, and that's what you're to do. And I would always advise, can't tell you how to do it and what to do, but I would advise that sometimes it behooves you to allow the opposition the choice to come forward and voice their opinion. It may not be your opinion, but their opinion is just as valid as yours. And if you are correct, you will come out as the winner in the end. If you are not correct, then you have given them the avenue that they need in order to make progress for the particular community. Anyhow, I don't want to belabor this. I would comment that the mayor has done a good job. We've had a librarian here in our community, Mary Johns, who for the first time in about 40 years, and I knew the previous librarians, for the first time in 40 years, we had a librarian that was progressive in this community. I'm sorry to see her go. Mary Johns was an asset to this community. And if you get someone who is half as good as she is, or was, you have done something as a kudo for the community. But checks and balances, that's what it is about, fair and equal. And in this political season, there hasn't been anything that I've seen that's been terribly fair, and there's not been much that's been terribly equal. But I would beseech you, each one, to take that to heart and say, if you do something, try to make it as fair as possible and try to give equal voice to all of the people who are speaking. Thank you.
Ms. Colby, thank you. Ms. Steele, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To return the compliment to Bob, he's leaving.
Mr. Steele, if you could just introduce yourself to the people of our city, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Even though he does look quite distinguished with his goatee. Mr. Mayor and City Council, I'm Manny Steele, and citizen of Sioux Falls. As a notary, I notarized thousands of signatures receiving this petition drive. I volunteered each afternoon for 2 weeks at the petition drive office. And on each sheet, stamped in the upper right-hand corner, was the authorization to use this form for the petition drive. So either the person authorizing this form knew what he was doing, or was ignorant of the improper form being authorized. Either way, there appears to be gross negligence on the part of the person authorizing. I'd love to see this situation go to court because I believe it could easily be won in our favor. But due to the cost factor, so if there are any attorneys out there who would do a pro bono, I would like to visit with them. But now for my final point. Each of you are entitled to vote on this building. Of the 9 votes that are sitting up here now, 5 of you are for postponing the bill letting and 4 against it. If just 1 of the 3 of you that are for the bill letting changes their vote to a no, we would have 6 against, and the citizens would have the opportunity to express their feelings. If not, the mayor has the final say on the new building. So, Mayor, the ball is then in your court. And you can either lob it back and give the citizens an opportunity, or you can do an overhead smash it down their throat. I respectfully ask, Mayor, that you honor the wishes of our community. Thank you.
Mr. Steele, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome. Councilor Staggers, welcome.
Good evening. I'm Kermit Staggers.
Thank you.
Citizen of Sioux Falls. I am honored to be standing before this new city council. Ever since May, when 4 new council members took the oath of office, this new city council has displayed greater independence and a commitment to the primary mission of the council, establishing policy. The best example of policymaking is the council's vote against the $25 million administration building. However, counteracting the council's majority vote was the mayor's veto. Counteracting the mayor's veto was the signature of 6,500 citizens on petitions that would allow a public vote on the administration building. As insurance to guarantee the citizens the right to vote, there is the proposed council ordinance to allow a public vote. I would hope that as members of the city council, that next week you would vote on a second reading for a special election to allow the citizens to vote yes or no on the administration building. Thank you.
Councilor Staggers, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You bet. Ms. Stenga, welcome.
Tim Stenga. First thing, I want to lift up Les Meilenberg's family. Keep our hearts and prayers and for him and his family. He was the security guy back here that sat back here. I just want to let everybody know.
Thank you, Tim.
Great guy.
Thank you.
Couple issues. People are starting to realize that the swimming pool is going to sort of look like the pavilion downtown. When we talk about that we're coming to a little bit of shortfall on money-wise that we figured that we'd get, it's getting to be that there's going to be more money put towards this indoor swimming pool than we figured. And it is a second penny sales tax, so I always tell people that if sales tax is down, second penny is going to be down, and that's where your roads mainly come out of, is second penny sales tax. It's always the people that are never going to come in this, go in the facility that have to pay the price. I've had a few people come up to me and ask me, how can you do a recall? Can you do a recall election? I told them, I said, that's a good question. I said, we might have to look into that. 6,500 people signed petitions. And the good part about it is, and I sat down, I talked to a lot of people that I took petitions with too. I can say there's 6,500 people that pretty much say that if anybody's going to run for a higher position, that there might be 6,500 people voting against you.
Ms. Stenga, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Welcome.
Bruce Danielson, Sioux Falls. At the end of July, we started a little project, and tonight I just wanted to talk about that little project of where thousands of volunteers circulated petitions signed by thousands of our fellow citizens. The 6,400 plus signatures are only a small part of the community who want to vote on this bonding. I want to take this time to thank the council members who are committed to our right to petition. You know who you are. And then To vote on these types of expenditures seems appalling to each of us. My real gratitude goes to the people of Sioux Falls. The outpouring of people that are behind me right now and throughout the community. The outpouring of support we receive from our fellow citizens reaffirmed my admiration for the process and for them. What can you say about 1,900 people who signed petitions in just 3 days? There was such an eagerness to drive to downtown Sioux Falls, and every 30 seconds, we calculated people were signing. And if we would have had it open more, people kept calling me, asking me, are you going to do it again? And it was like, you know, there's only so much I can do in that time period. But when you think about getting 600 plus signatures a day, it's pretty amazing. And it shows you the pent-up angst that's in this community, and we want something done. They drove and walked out of their way to let you on the dais know they demand to be part of these decisions. Tonight, think about how great these citizens are for fighting to help all of us. Listen to their signatures. They are loud and clear. Vote to move the election to the second reading. I made a clerical error and it will be fixed. There will be more to come in the coming days. Some will be happy and some in this room won't be. Do the right thing tonight for the 65% of Sioux Falls and let us vote. You did it for the event center. You got to do it for this. This is the first time in Sioux Falls history where we're going to be voting. We want to vote on an expenditure of this kind. We've always voted for major expenditures as a city. Do it tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson, thank you. Folks, like we did with the other group, I think it'd be important to just, if you wouldn't mind, if you're here for the advisory vote topic, if you wouldn't mind just, raising your hand. I think that'd be appropriate too. Just raise your hand, please. I know there's more than 5 of you. If you're, and maybe it's not. If you're here for the advisory vote, just raise your hand. Okay. Very good. Thank you. We appreciate that. Just to, we've not had repetitive discussion for the most part, so that's, thank you. Just to kind of give the council some information, for those that are here to talk about the advisory vote, the discussion's been, money spent on the building could be used for other priorities such as roads. It should go to a vote for the citizen input, regardless in whether you're in favor of the building or not. There were people spent time and effort to not only sign the petition, but certainly to gather the petition. The council and the mayor should not have the authority to vote on everything. There was discussion about checks and balances and the importance of that between the executive branch and the legislative branch. There was discussion on the sacrifices of veterans. I don't want to minimize that. Discussion on the form that was utilized for the petition. We want to give citizens the opportunity to vote versus our elected leaders. It's kind of similar to the one earlier. And then there was just recently a comparison to the event center topic and how that was an expensive project and how this one is expensive too. So with that in mind, any other topics in regards to anything in the city of Sioux Falls, we welcome your input. Welcome.
Sierra, Sioux Falls.
Welcome.
Mayor, this is going to be some sensitive topics, but we have to disclose everything here tonight. As you well know, that the city attorney, Keith Allenstein, sent an email out to council on my arrest. That was a petty arrest, wasn't a DUI arrest. I do have a court date on September the 13th at 9 o'clock. Mr. Keith Allenstein never had a court date for his DUI. Second of all, I'm proud to be a transgender person, proud to experience that I experienced with the police department in police custody at the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Deputy Office. You would think that Minnehaha County Sheriff was against LGBT people. It's the other way around. I have 5 complaints on 5 officers for unprofessionalism. It's been a week and a half, Mayor. I have not heard from the captain of administration on this issue at all. I have left voicemails for him to get back with me for a letter of sustained or not sustained. If the city comes back and it's not sustained with the evidence that I have, we're either going to come up with something or I'm going to have to file a lawsuit on these individual police officers. LGBT is a big thing in the community. We do not need the city police and city government. When your identification identifies you as female, you call people he and he, she's. On top of other stuff that they were joking about within themselves, with 8 more inmates in the booking room at the Minnehaha County Courthouse. Mayor, I cannot stress to you, I have sued before in another state, and I will sue in this state. I will not face the police department being disrespectful. Whatever it says on that ID, if you're pre-op or post-op, you have to go by what it says here. Mayor, I'm asking you because you oversee the chief of police. I need that letter back to me with that investigation. They had supposed to got the videotape and the recording of what happened in that jail booking area. I supposed to get a letter. I have not gotten a letter. Keith Allenstein shouldn't even sent out an email because I have called council that day. The next day I got out of jail, and I called your office the next day, so I wasn't hiding nothing. So I'm proud, I'm actually proud to be arrested so I could see what it was like as an LGBT person to get arrested to see how Sioux Falls police treats the people. But Keith Allenstein had no business putting out that letter, which I will receive that letter and put it out to the public, knowing that underneath your wing, he would not be sitting there that he was sitting here right now. I will face Judgment Day, but he has not faced Judgment Day for his DUI.
Sierra, thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Jay Root. I live at 3914 East 3rd Street.
Welcome, Jay.
And council and mayor, I'm roughly with the Oakview group, but you know what? I learned a lot about my neighborhood. I'm kind of isolated. I live on 3rd Street, but we got Montgomery Court. There's 2 of them because it loops down and comes around. We got Savannah and we got Columbia. And them are only outlets. Only way we can get out of that area is we got to use 3rd Street, okay? And there's a lot of kids. And there's 3 places to cross. One's on Sycamore, one's on Bonson, and one's right by the library where they can cross to go to school. Washington High kids park pretty close to a half a mile long on the north side. There is no crosswalks from Montgomery, Savannah, or Columbia. Now there's kids, both, you know, that's a park. They play soccer, they got gyms and all that, Danny, Kenny Anderson and all that. They can walk all the way down there, that's fine. We're gonna load by adding this other apartment complex. There's gonna be another 336 people, and that's only with, you know, 1 child. Now, there's another apartment complex right across the street. I think there's 3 places to cross on Bonson. One is between 2 driveways. That's got the ADA ramp where they can go into the cross to go to the school. And that doesn't make any sense. Somebody wants to park their car when they get home or whatever, are they going to sit there and partially block that crossing? basically I'm bringing up safety issues. When you dump more people in that little square box, which is Washington High, Kenny, Annie Sullivan, the soccer fields, all that, now you're going to put another apartment complex there with that amount of people, and guess what? These kids are going to have friends in my neighborhood. I'm pretty sure they will. And they're going to be jumping between cars that are parked on the north side where all the Washington High kids park because they don't want to pay for their permits. And also they park down in Montgomery Court, and I don't know too much about the other areas, but when they're over full, there's one spot up there where city bus drops off. And then there's a bus stop right in front of where the apartments are going to be, possibly. So, not trying to mess with our group, it just brought to my attention, man, we got to have some means of slowing that traffic down and let them kids cross and go to the park. Why would you have a park if you can't get to the park? You got to walk a half a mile to get there. So, and if they're little kids, granted, they shouldn't be over there unless their parents are there, but that's my issue, and it came to light because of Oakville. So, all right, thanks.
Ms. Root, thank you very much. Folks, it's been very good discussion, and it doesn't have to be over, but just kind of give you a flavor. The second reading for the neighborhood, Tony, as you know, is next week, and in a second reading, you actually have the opportunity to engage the council before they do their discussion on that second reading. So you're certainly all invited back for that. Like the majority of the people are here for that topic, and so I commend you for being here tonight, kind of packing the place about that topic. You know, we'll see how that goes. I also counted about 7 people that are here for the advisory vote. That also could potentially have a second reading too, depending on what happens here tonight, and you'll have that same potential opportunity. If there's any other discussion on any topic, feel free to come forward, folks. It's a great opportunity. Well, very good. Again, thank you so much, and maybe we'll see you next week. Maybe not, but thank you. Councilors? 2.
Item 42 is a new 2016-17 package malt beverage South Dakota Farm Winery license for Hare & Hare Hampton Inn, 2417 South Carolyn Avenue. Item 43 is a new 2016 retail wine license for JSM Investments Incorporated, Benji's Casino, 5422 East Arrowhead Parkway. CUP not required pending permit issuance and final inspection per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 44 is a new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for JSM Investments Incorporated, Benji's Casino, 5422 East Arrowhead Parkway. CUP not required pending permit issuance and final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 45 is a request to include video lottery terminals with the new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for JSM Investments Incorporated, Benji's Casino, 5422 East Arrowhead Parkway, pending permit issuance and final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 46 is a transfer of 2016 retail liquor license with Sunday sales and video lottery terminals from Sports Zone Incorporated Rookie Sports Barn Grill, 2616 South Louise Avenue, to Sicky's ND Incorporated Sicky's Garage, 2616 South Louise Avenue, CUP not required. Item 47 is a special one-day wine license request for Downtown Sioux Falls Incorporated to be operated at the following locations: 8th and Railroad Center Lobby, 401 East 8th Street, A League of Your Own, 229 South Phillips Avenue, American State Bank, 223 South Phillips Avenue, Atoli Salon, 317 South Phillips Avenue, Bead Company, 319 South Phillips Avenue, Calvary Cathedral, 500 South Main Avenue, CH Patisserie, 309 South Phillips Avenue, Chelsea's Boutique, 321 South Phillips Avenue, Great Outdoor Store, 201 East 10th Street, Half Baked, 120 South Phillips Avenue, Home Porch Gifts, 217 South Phillips Avenue, J.H. & Sons, 216 South Phillips Avenue, Jam Art and Supplies, 401 North Phillips Avenue. Juliana's Boutique La Femme, 196 East 6th Street, number 100. Lillian's, 311 South Phillips Avenue. NV Studios, 106 West 11th Street. Rayfield's Art and Framing, 210 South Phillips Avenue. Say Anything Jewelry, 225 South Phillips Avenue. SHUES, 333 South Phillips Avenue. Simply Perfect, 401 East 8th Street, 10A. Sioux Falls Design Center, 108 West 11th Street. Sticks and Steel, 401 East 8th Street, number 118. Unglued, 218 South Phillips Avenue. Young and Richards, 222 South Phillips Avenue. And Zambros Variety, 209 South Phillips Avenue for the First Friday Wine Walk on October 7th, 2016. Item 48 is a special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license for Siouxland Heritage Museums to be operated at Pettigrew Home and Museum, 131 North Duluth Avenue for History Happy Hour programs on September 22nd and October 27, 2016.
Jamie, welcome.
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Item 42 is a license request which would allow the hotel to sell packaged beer and farm wines to their guests. Items 43 and 44 are new wine and malt licenses request, which includes a request for video lottery, which is item number 45. 46 is a transfer due to a change in ownership, and 47 and 48 are special one-day requests. Many of the applicants are here if you have questions for them.
Jamie, thank you. Council, any motions on this topic?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second, Kylie.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve these items, seconded by Council Vice Chair Kiley.
Yes. Great. I have a couple of questions, Jamie. The first one, is there the applicant for downtown Sioux Falls here? I guess I've participated in this event in the past, but it seems that one group being in charge of that many locations and making sure that security is taken care of. I guess I just was looking for an assurance that they have a plan in place for that.
Sarah from downtown Sioux Falls is here.
Thank you.
Sarah, Councilor Starr, is it Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah, Councilor Starr was just inquiring on the security measures that downtown Sioux Falls is going to take on this particular topic.
Okay. Each location has to have their own employees that are going to be serving and making sure that people aren't walking out into the streets with them. We are providing signs for them to put up. We do always, we love the police department because they always show up for us. There will also be downtown Sioux Falls employees patrolling, as well as some from the distributor will also be out helping. So.
Perfect. Thank you. That's the answer I was looking for.
Councilor, thank you. Sarah, thank you. Folks, any other comments, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Item 49.
Item 49 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property at 8301 West 48th Street from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban District. Petition number 4486, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
Good evening, Diane DeCoyer with the Planning Office. Item 49 at the request of the applicant is being withdrawn.
Diane, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I would move to withdraw item 49. Second, Erickson.
Councilor Marks made a motion to withdraw this item, seconded by Councilor Erickson. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you. Item 50.
Item 50 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property at 5801 West Christopher Place from the RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density District to the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District. Petition number 5303, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant for this is the City of Sioux Falls Planning and Zoning Office. The location is south of West Dardanella Road and west of South Marion Road. City staff identified an existing apartment building that is 3 stories tall which is not allowed in the RA1 zoning district. With this update, it'll correct the parcel to an RA2 zoning district for compliance with the Sioux Falls zoning ordinance. I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Folks, this is the second reading. Did anybody want to speak to this item in the audience? Very good. Councilors?
To approve, Erickson. Second, Erpenbach.
Motion to approve this item, second by Councilor Erpenbach. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, just, I was given this check, it's not to me unfortunately, but it was dropped outside. Is there a Gwen meter here? There was a check that was dropped outside. If not, we'll have to figure out a way to get her. But it was given to me by a citizen that said, hey, can you make an announcement? So no Gwen? Okay, we'll figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 51.
An ordinance, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1122 East 8th Street from the RT2 Townhome Residential Traditional District to the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District, petition number 5250, 2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 7-0.
The applicant for this, again, is the City of Sioux Falls Planning and Zoning Office. The location is north of East 8th Street and west of North Cliff Avenue. City staff identified an existing property that is used for retail services, which is not allowed in the RT2 zoning district. The update will correct the parcel to a C2 zoning district for compliance with the Sioux Falls zoning ordinance. I can answer any questions you might have.
Diane, thank you. Folks, another second reading. Anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second, Selberg.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor, was it Selberg? Councilor Selberg. Welcome, sir. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Council, that has passed 7-0. Thank you. Item 52.
Item 52 is the second reading. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota authorizing the issuance of its health facilities revenue refunding bonds, Dow Rummel Village Project, Series 2016, and an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $24 million for the purpose of providing funds to be loaned to Dow Rummel Village, a South Dakota nonprofit corporation, for the purpose of refunding outstanding bonds, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of an indenture of trust, a loan agreement, a mortgage, 180-day redemption, security agreement, and fixture financing statement, a bond purchase agreement, a continuing disclosure agreement, and a tax regulatory agreement, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of the bonds and certain related documents, making certain findings and determinations with respect to the bonds, and providing for the security rights and remedies of the holders of the bonds.
Is there anybody going to speak to this item? Jim? No? Council?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Kylie.
Councilor Buck's made a motion to approve this item. Folks, I apologize. This is a second reading. Is there anybody in the audience who want to speak to this item before I go to the council? Very good. Councilor Bach, you made a motion to approve.
Yes,
Councilor Vice Chair Kylie, you seconded that. Thank you. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson? Yes. Erpenbach?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. That has passed 7-0. Item 53.
Item 53 is a first reading to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 13th, 2016 at 7:00 p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota approving the naming of a facility space on public property.
Good evening. I'm Mike Cooper with City Planning and Building Services, and I'm also presenting this item tonight as the chair of the City Naming Committee. This item involves the naming of a parcel that's currently owned by the City of Sioux Falls. It's located on the northeast corner of the intersection of River Road and 10th Street. This is being proposed by the Downtown Rotary Club of Sioux Falls to be named Rotary Centennial Plaza. The exhibit that we have up on the screen shows the location of this area that's being considered for naming. Also, just to point out, on the map it shows the proposed Arc of Dreams north of 8th Street. And I would point out that the Downtown Rotary is also a sponsor of this initiative as well. This proposed naming started about 2 years ago when Rotary was looking for a project to allow them to recognize their centennial. They approached the city about locations for a project somewhere in the downtown, and through a series of meetings, including city planning staff, parks and recreation staff, and members of Rotary, we identified this particular location as a good candidate because it fits in with the downtown Greenway plan. It has some good public visibility, and it would be another nice addition for the downtown area. This went before the City Naming Committee back in December with a recommendation for approval. We also advertised this so that if any other organization or entity was interested in considering a proposal, that we could do that at the same time. So you may ask, well, why has it taken this long from December to get to where we are tonight? We have been working diligently with Rotary to update this proposed development plan, which we're showing you tonight. And we've been working also with the City Attorney's Office, and I will recognize Karen Leonard from the Attorney's Office that has spent a lot of time working on drafts of an agreement for development of this plaza. This plaza is roughly 25 by 100 feet in area. Currently, the City Parks Department mows the grass in front of this area, and we also do the sidewalk snow removal. With this agreement and with this naming, Rotary will invest over the next 3 years money to fund the improvements to the plaza in accordance with city approval and city requirements. And they will be responsible for the maintenance of the plaza as long as that plaza exists in the future. The city will continue to do the sidewalk snow removal and the mowing of the grass in front of the plaza. So we've made it very clear as far as who's going to be responsible going forward for development and for maintenance of the plaza. The development agreement also has a 5-year timeline because we know that this is a voluntary project and it's subject to fundraising by Rotary. So we wanted to make sure that there was some flexibility in implementing the intent of developing this plaza. But it fits in very nice with the downtown Greenway. It's going to provide some great recognition and exposure to the Rotary Club. And again, it really fits well with this particular location. So this is first reading tonight, and we'll have another presentation at second reading, and we'll also have representatives of Downtown Rotary if you have any more questions of them.
Michael, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions or comments of Mike? Or yes, Councilor Umbach.
Question, can you go back to that last slide, Diane?
This one?
Yes.
Are you doing this or
yes,
am I
this,
clicking?
sorry. I didn't know who was running the slides. The steps down below. No, go back to the other one.
Okay.
That's the steps down below. Do those exist now? Or is that part of the future Greenway? Keep going.
That shows the view from the river. That's that existing quartzite wall,
Right.
the flood wall.
But then there are people standing on the flat area below that. Is that
Yeah,
a
that's
future?
part of the future Greenway
future
plan
Okay.
of developing a connection to Faywick Park.
Okay, and then my other question, and you sort of answered it, but you advertised this space as being available, so to make sure that no one else wanted to bid higher on it, right? But
Yes.
now are we opening ourselves up to every organization that turns 100 years old, they want a little chunk along the Greenway, or how do we handle that
would be
kind of
great.
stuff? Okay, all right.
Well, again, this is, I think, a unique opportunity. We have a Kiwanis Park, we have a Sertoma Park, so we have other examples where service clubs have come forward in the past, and I guess I would not say never, but this is a pretty unique opportunity because of the size and the location of this. There probably aren't other similar opportunities like this within the downtown greenway right now going forward.
Well, I just realized how ungrateful I kind of sounded. I'm grateful to the Rotary Club.
Yes.
I just wanted to be sure that we were okay with that idea that, you know, other folks might want to do this. And it's a great idea. I just want that to.
And we have a Lions Park as well. So
right. See, you're
yes.
right. Yeah. Thank you.
We're covering all of them.
Councilor Buck, would you want to move this to a
You know,
second reading?
I absolutely would do that. I would set the date of hearing for September 13th.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second, Erickson.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson, for that second. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Kiley?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 54.
Item 54 is a first reading, set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 13th, 2016 at 7 p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, calling a special election on the issue of whether the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota should build an administrative office building and associated site improvements.
Jim, are you doing this one? Councilor Staley? Councilor Staley?
I think I'm doing this one.
Councilor Staley?
Yes. Okay.
You bet.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you who have stayed throughout this entire meeting. And I wanted to say that this ordinance is really a triangular relationship ordinance. It has three parts to it. It has the mayor, it has the city council, and it has the citizens. The administration building has had a colorful history, as many of you know. It had 2 tie votes before we were elected that were broken by the mayor. It had a repeal that happened within this newly elected council, a 5-3 vote. It had a veto that the mayor did a month or so ago. Then it had a petition drive, and a very impressive petition drive, if I may add, of about 6,400 signatures in 3 weeks. And then, of course, the snafu happened. There was an oversight, a mistake, and a resulted shutdown. Now, I believe that the community expects leadership from this council and from the mayor to show that we respect the effort and the integrity of those citizens who signed the petition and who held the petitions. Tonight, we have an opportunity to move ahead on an advisory election on June 8th with the school board. This is the same type of advisory election that we used for the event center. If we can support this action tonight and do our part, then we are going to look to you, Mr. Mayor, to do your part. I greatly admired and appreciated your willingness to let the event center building go to a public vote, an advisory vote. And I know that you wanted that building. I know you feel very strongly about this building. I get that. But I think that a vote would be very appropriate. The public is looking to you, Mr. Mayor, to do your part, and to the council to do our part to help this effort. Working together, we can take an action of respect, leadership, and compromise to show the taxpayers of this city that we care. I am proud to be supporting this ordinance tonight. And I'm proud, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to move forward and put this to a public vote on June 8th, 2017. This is the first reading. If we can pass this through tonight, we have a second reading next week, and then, of course, the mayor would have to defer the bonds. But this all works together, and it all could work together. So that's why I'm bringing this forth now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilor Starr.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agreed to co-sponsor this ordinance tonight for a couple of reasons, but the main one being the 6,500 people who took their time to come and sign this petition. It's no fault of theirs that the wrong form was used. However that legal technicality happened, it's caused a lot of disappointment for a lot of people. But my job as a city councilor is to represent the people of Sioux Falls. There are 6,500 people. That's over half of the people who voted in the April election. Their voice needs to be heard. A couple of the questions that I got as part of this when I agreed to sponsor it, one included why wait 9 months to have an election? I'm willing at the second reading to look at possibly amending that date to December, if that helps that makes it more accommodating. I think those are discussions that we can have when we debate the issue. The other is the only way for this Stop the Funding group to succeed at this point is to sue. And that's not my responsibility as a city councilor to agree or not agree. What I can do is I can sponsor this ordinance and bring this forward without it having to become a court case. Again, it's not my responsibility to move forward. And if there is a legal challenge, I understand that as well, and we can address that in the second reading, or we can withdraw an election if they choose to sue. So again, for the people who signed this petition, for the people who spent hours in the sun, the amount of time that in the wind and the conditions of South Dakota to collect 6,500 signatures in less than 3 weeks, which has to be some kind of local record at least, for the amount of time for you, I've agreed to co-sponsor this, and hopefully we move forward to a second reading next week.
Councilor, thank you. Councilor Selberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, it feels like we've been here before, a little bit like the movie Groundhog Day. I mean, we've been down this road a couple times this year already, and while a number of us, me included, didn't necessarily like the result, the fact is we went through the democratic process provided to us, and here we are. It's being brought forward today, again, as Councilor Staley and Starr have said, is more of a vote to say that 6,000 or so signatures shouldn't be discounted over a technicality, and the people need to be heard. Now, of course, it's hard to argue those points. Of course, they need to be heard, and it's hard to vote against that sentiment. On the other hand, I'm not sure I see this playing out any differently than what we've seen the last 2 times we've gone down this road. So I guess where I'm at with it, I'm a little bit torn with it. I would say a yes vote tonight would be out of the respect for those that did work hard to get those signatures, that made the effort, those who are out there getting the petitions. So a yes vote would be out of respect for that, but I still have some reservations as far as if we go forward. We have led on this, we've talked it out, we've worked on this for months, it's gone through things for most of the year. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is out of respect for those that have worked hard on it, that's why I'm listening to a possible yes vote. Thanks.
Councilor Selberg, thank you. Yes, Councilor Neisert.
I largely echo what Councilor Selberg has stated. Those who circulated the petition worked very hard. I want to say that loud and clear. Over 6,000 citizens signed the petition in 3 weeks. That's pretty incredible. There's clearly a hunger to vote on this issue, but I've struggled with this vote for a number of reasons, and I have a lot of mixed feelings. I'm concerned that this could do more harm than good for our city, mainly because I think it's going to create a false hope. I have a lot of hesitation and trepidation, but I'll vote to send this to a second reading. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week. But we all need to be very realistic about where we're at. The mayor can legally bond on or after October 1st. This would not change that fact. He doesn't have to, of course, but he has been very clear and consistent that he plans to move forward. We need to be very honest about what this would do, and more importantly, what it does not do. If this were to pass, it would not be effective until after October 1st. The election would occur months after the mayor could legally bond, and if he did it, it would render the election moot, and this is advisory only, and it is not binding. I'm concerned that this could create a false impression that the citizens will get to vote on this building. If they don't, it's going to create more division, more bitterness, and split our city gratuitously. I'd like to see an election one way or another that we would honor regardless of the outcome, but that's something that's out of my control and the council's control. This is in the mayor's hands, and I respect that. What is in our control, both individual councilors and citizens, is how we conduct ourselves and what we say. I and other councilors have tried very hard to keep this debate focused on policy, respectful, and not to make it personal. But I've been very troubled by the rhetoric in the last few weeks. There have been allegations that the process was circumvented in some way by the mayor. Let's be clear, the mayor is a voting member of the council in the event of a tie. Per the charter, he gets to break ties. I may disagree with his vote, but he does get to vote in the event of a tie. That's the process. The mayor has the power to veto. I may disagree with his veto, but he has that power. That's a process. We tried to override it. We were unable to. Therefore, the repeal ordinance was not adopted. I may not like that, but that's a process. We lost, fair and square. When I've spoken about the tie-breaking votes in the veto, my point is not to imply that the process was violated, which it certainly was not, but simply to point out that this proposal has been contentious from the beginning, and it continues to be. My thought has been with the proposal to bond millions of dollars where the executive and legislative branches are divided, it seems appropriate to let the citizens have the final say. The way to do that is an election. That's my position, but I may or may not win that. And if I don't win it, it's not because the process was circumvented, it's just simply because we lost, plain and simple. In terms of the initiative, I made no secret of my support for it. Valid signatures or not, it was going to and require additional action, whether it be a legal action or a change of heart on the mayor's part to make that election actually matter, simply based on timing. I want the citizens to know that the city clerk had no choice but to rule the petitions invalid. They were on the wrong form, period, and state law and administrative rules are clear they must be on the proper form. I called the Secretary of State's office myself and confirmed that. He has no discretion in this matter. There is no good enough provision. The attacks on the city clerk are uncalled for and totally unfair. He does not have discretion here, and he's following the process and the letter of the law. And that's coming from someone who led the repeal effort and wants the people to vote. But I have to be honest first. I don't get to make up my own facts, nor would I want to as a matter of integrity. This was simply an unfortunate mistake made in the haste of the moment by the individual who led the effort to bring this to a vote, period, end of issue. Further, there is no evidence whatsoever nor reason to believe the mayor had anything to do with these petitions being thrown out. I do not believe the mayor had any influence on the city clerk one way or another. And let me make something clear. The city clerk works for us. The mayor has no power over the city clerk. None. Again, the petitions were on the wrong form. It was a mistake. It's not any more complicated than that. The mayor had nothing to do with what form was used. As a vocal opponent of this building, I want to say loud and clear the attacks on the city clerk, the mayor, and the city attorney are unfair and not helpful to our side. We should be arguing that the mayor should allow a vote on this proposal because the citizens have demonstrated that they want a voice, and that's the right thing to do. That's an honorable and fair argument. In this case, in all fairness, the mayor, city clerk, and city attorney do not deserve the abuse and blame they have been given. Perhaps the courts will step in and address this issue with the petitions and rule them substantially compliant. I have no idea, given the oath is almost exactly the same. I hope the people do get to vote on this, and I hope we might go in another direction. That may or may not happen, and it remains to be seen. Either way, I will be moving on to the next challenge and not looking back. I would ask everyone who wants to vote on this that you urge the mayor respectfully to reconsider because it's the right thing to do. It's clearly what the voters want, and the petitions were invalidated because of a mistake out of the control of the voters, not because of any malfeasance. And no matter what happens, we're going to move on to the next challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate that. Councilor Urbanbach.
You know, Mr. Mayor, I've been involved as Sioux Falls City Government in a variety of roles over the last 16 years. And over these years of service, I have been involved in a variety of conversations about city office space, including Mayor Munson's consideration of purchasing the former Midland National Life building almost 10 years ago. This wasn't some dream of Mike Huether's. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, this wasn't your thing. It's time now, though, for this council to come together over this issue. I don't understand why the citizen petition drive waited until the last minute to rush this issue to a public vote. They had 5 months after the original April vote of this council. But that rush attempt failed. So let's move forward together as a community and get this important building project started. Why on earth would we vote as a community on something that will be partially built by the time of the June election? Let's move forward to, as Councilor Neitzer said, let's move forward to the next challenge that's far more important than this.
Councilor Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question for the city attorney, if I can, please.
Yep, Councilor.
My question, hypothetically speaking, say passes first, second reading, and at that time the administration does bond on, say, October 15th. We'll just throw a date out there. What happens with that advisory vote at that time, if it is in fact scheduled for December or June?
It would only be an advisory vote, Councilor Erickson. The bond purchasers would have what the law would call vested rights at that point. You couldn't undo any bond sales. So does that answer your question?
So would the election still occur, is my question? Or
Again,
would it be up to this council to come in and say, nope, not today, we're not going to do it?
You're essentially doing a survey only. It wouldn't have any legal meaning whatsoever because the bond sale would have already occurred. There's vested rights in the bondholders. The proceeds of the bonds will be used to build this new city administration building. You are doing a survey only from a legal standpoint by doing this as an advisory election only.
Thank you. And if I can make a brief statement, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor.
I have also been a strong critic of this and walked a little bit longer with the new council coming on board. I've walked through this for the last year plus. It is unfortunate that the wrong form was used, and that's what happened. It still was an uphill challenge. We still don't know if those signatures were validated, if the election was actually going to take place without the pause from the administration. At that time, and only at that time, would the election take place if the bonds paused. I'm not interested in spending thousands of dollars for an advisory election that does nothing. I understand it does give the people the voice, but if it's not going to direct us, if it's not going to accomplish anything other than saying, I win, you lose, you win, I lose, that's really all it's doing, and it's unfortunate. I am a huge advocate of having the people speak, of the democratic process of working through that. I've been through it before. It works. Sometimes it doesn't work. But I'm not interested in just throwing away those dollars as well. I am concerned over the decisiveness, the division within the council as well as the city and the message it sends. It's unfortunate, but I've been on the opposite side, and I've been there. Whatever happens over the next 2 weeks, I hope that we can move forward in a respectful manner and tackle the next challenges that our community faces, because we do have a lot of important issues in this community other than one building. Thank you.
Councilor, thank you. Appreciate that. Councilor Kiley.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor, and thank you, Councilor Selberg and Neitzer and Erickson, because you really echo my sentiment here. I mean, it is unfortunate that the process to initiate wasn't begun sooner, or actually referred after the April vote. It did not, however. All of us on the council have followed the process, and it has been a democratic process every step of the way, as Councilor Neitzer had pointed out. So we are here today. It is, I guess, as they say, what it is. And it has been unfortunately, it has been such a divisive issue. And I greatly respect my fellow councilors, and I've stated that before publicly, and I've also stated to other councilors on the other side of this issue than what I am on, that I respected the initiative as well, too. It is unfortunate that the error occurred. It was also unfortunate that the blame was laid where it should not have been laid. That's all water under the bridge at this point, but I really do believe that it does give false hope if we move forward. And normally I'm all for moving things to a second reading, but in this situation, because of that, I will vote no this evening, and if necessary, again next week.
Councilor Kiley, thank you. Councilor Staley.
Well, first of all, let me say that we are doing, first of all, this calling for an advisory vote. I am not trying to trash the mayor, nor am I trying to trash the city clerk or anything. We have a right to do this. We're not doing anything illegal. This is well within our responsibility and our authority on the council to bring forth an advisory vote. If we had the vote, if we voted to pass it through today, we have the second reading next week. And then if the mayor does go ahead and bond it on October 1st, then it's nil. I get that. I'm not saying we're going to spend any money on this. I don't know that we were going to go ahead and start and have a vote after he'd already started on the building. This is all, like I said, it's a triangular situation. We say this, we respect what the citizens did. We put this gesture forward, and then the mayor gets to choose what he's going to do. And we're all assuming the mayor will never change his mind. And we're human. We are not mind readers here. So as I've said before, it's more important that we go forward and take this next step. It's one last thing that we can do. I feel very good about putting this forward. And of course, we all have our own decisions to make here. But we got the citizens' tax money here. We got the citizens' effort here to show respect for what they've done.
Councilor Staley, did you want to make a motion?
I do, thank you. I would like to move that we have a second reading on this next week.
Councilor Staley is making a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 13th for this item. Is there a second?
Second, Starr.
Second by Councilor Starr. Is there any other discussion? A yes vote would move this to would be wanting to move this to a second reading next week. A no vote would not want that to occur. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley,
No.
Neitzert,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
No.
That has passed 5-2. Item 54.
Item 55 is a resolution approving...
Item 55. Sorry, thank you.
Okay. A resolution approving the 2016-2017 budget for the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau Business Improvement District's budget.
Did anybody want to speak to this item? Terry, would you like to just speak to this item briefly, please? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Welcome, Terry.
Terry Schmidt, Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau. Just very briefly, as you all know, we presented in detail to you this afternoon. We are here to ask your approval on the bid budget for this coming year at $2,179,000. And then as well, we did present the information on the CVB, which is the room tax side, and that was coming in at $1,355,000. Any questions further from this afternoon?
Terry, before we go to that, is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this particular item? Other than Terry, of course. Sorry, Terry.
Sorry.
Very good. Councilors,
Move to
any
approve,
questions? There's been a motion to approve by Councilor Erickson, second by
Erpenbach.
Councilor Erpenbach, and Councilor Kiley.
Just one quick question.
Sure.
One quick question, Terry, because you did not have the opportunity this afternoon because of our busy schedule to show the video that you wanted to show. Could you explain just what the video was or is, and maybe explain where it can be accessed?
Krista, I'm going to have our Director of Marketing, Krista Orsak, come up as well. This is a new video as part of our planning for the coming year. It is a 6-minute video that Krista can give you all the detail on. Go ahead.
Well, it's a video we created.
could you
Krista
just
Orsak, Director of Marketing for the
Thank
Sioux
you.
Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau. Always forget that part. So this was about a year in the making. It's based on storytelling through some of our locals and just representing Sioux Falls. We have found that through storytelling, we increase engagements, ultimately getting people to visit Sioux Falls. You can access it on our YouTube channel or share it out on Facebook. It's gone viral in our eyes because it's reached like 2,500 shares, and I'm geeking out a little bit about that. But it's a great video, and we'll have more to come.
Krista, to be more specific for the people of our town, help them find it on YouTube. What should they Google?
You can type in youtube.com/visit Sioux Falls.
Thank you. YouTube.com
/visit Sioux Falls.
Visit Sioux Falls. That'll
Or you
help.
can search Visit Sioux Falls on the YouTube.
Thank you very much,
site.
Krista. Thank you.
Mhm.
Councilors, any other questions?
Just a quick one.
Councilor Starr.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Terry, you could go to my Facebook page because I've already forwarded it to all my family and friends. In fact, my sister-in-law was in town last week for a job interview, and I shared the video with her, and it just made her want to move here even more. So it was an impressive job what you're doing to promote our community. I know it gets tougher and tougher as we go around the country, but I am convinced that we live in the best city in America. So thank you for the work you do at the CPB.
A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Great job. This passed 7-0. Item 56.
Item 56 is a resolution declaring it necessary to levy and levying a special front foot assessment fee for street maintenance and repair.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mark Cotter with the Office of Public Works. This resolution is moved forward each year to assess the front foot assessment fee. That fee is $1 on every front foot of real property within the City of Sioux Falls. We are not recommending a rate increase. This has been assessed for the past 24 years. It generates about $4.69 million for 2017's street maintenance budget. And I'm here to answer your questions.
Folks, it's a resolution. Did anybody want to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Erickson.
Councilor Buck's made a motion to approve this resolution. Second by Councilor Erickson. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item 57.
Item 57 is a resolution expressing unwavering support for basing the F-35 Lightning Joint Strike Fighter at Joe Foss Field, 114th Fighter Wing, South Dakota Air National Guard.
Jim?
Good evening. Jim David, Legislative Operations Manager for the City Council. For your consideration tonight is a resolution supporting the effort to secure the F-35 Lightning Joint Strike Fighter at Joe Foss Field. The South Dakota Air National Guard in Sioux Falls is highly decorated, nationally respected, and the recipient of numerous awards, including the Distinguished Flying Unit Award in 2016. This was the 6th time that the South Dakota Guard received the award, which is given to one of the 5 highest-rated Air National Guard flying units. Locally, the Air Guard provides $64.3 million in economic impact when you combine the payroll and base spending. There are over 1,000 Air Guard members, including 355 full-time staff. The base also includes 22 F-16 aircrafts. The F-16s, which were introduced in the late 1970s and first flown at Joe Foss Field in 1991, are projected to reach their shelf life as early as 2027. The South Dakota Air Guard, Sioux Falls Area Chamber of Commerce's military task force, are vying for the F-35, which is considered by many to be the world's most advanced multi-role aircraft. The South Dakota Air Guard is one of 18 bases competing in the country to be in the top 6 finalists, which is expected to be announced this fall. The F-35 is currently being flown at 2 Air Force bases and 1 Marine Corps base in the United States. This morning, the Minnehaha County Commission unanimously approved a resolution supporting this effort, and earlier this year, the South Dakota Legislature unanimously approved House Concurrent Resolution 1002 to support the F-35 basing in Sioux Falls. I'd like to invite Colonel Nate Alholina to say just a few words.
Colonel, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I am Colonel Nate Alholina, the commander of the 114th Fighter Wing here in Sioux Falls. I represent over 1,000 men and women of the South Dakota Air National Guard. The 114th has a proud 70-year history of flying fighter aircraft. It was founded in 1946 by World War II Medal of Honor winner, Governor of South Dakota, Brigadier General Joe Foss. We've had a great history since then. We've been flying the F-16C since 1991, 25 years. It's been a great airplane. We've had a great safety record flying the airplane. We haven't had a single accident in 25 years of the F-16. Unfortunately, it is scheduled to sunset in 2027 to 2030. The F-35 will ensure the history and relevancy of the South Dakota Air National Guard for decades to come. Your unanimous support will go a long way toward demonstrating community and civic support to the South Dakota Air National Guard and in support of our efforts to be selected for the next round of the F-35. If selected for the next round, we expect bed down to be about 2022. We have an impeccable safety record. We haven't had a single accident in 25 years of flying the F-16. In addition, for the 5th consecutive year, we received the South Dakota Governor's Safety Council highest award of honor for our culture of safety in the South Dakota Air Guard. We have 2 missions. We have a federal mission. Since 9/11, we've deployed 3,000 airmen to 24 different countries along with aircraft, including, among others, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iraq 3 times, Oman, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan, Jordan, and most recently last summer, South Korea. We also maintain a remote detachment of F-16s providing 24/7 aerospace control alert for Homeland Defense. We currently, right now, have 130 airmen and airplanes in the country of Poland in support of U.S. government outreach to European countries. We also have a state mission, our largest state deployment being in 2011 when we deployed 550 airmen to assist along the Missouri River with the major flooding. As mentioned, we provide an economic impact of over $64 million annually to the economy of Sioux Falls. We hope to receive funding next year for a $35 million mega maintenance project that will replace a 1940s era hangar and 7 additional buildings. Huge project, 1 of 3 in the Air National Guard that will happen next year. Burlington, Vermont, which was selected for the first bed down of the Air National Guard F-35 in the Air National Guard, is currently experiencing over $100 million in military construction in preparation for the F-35. I believe we would expect to be about the same. When it comes to national awards and recognitions, the 114th is consistently in the top tier of 90 Air National Guard wings. The ones I like to brag about the most are the Spats Trophy 2 years ago, in which we were the #1 unit of 90. This year, we received our 2nd consecutive Distinguished Flying Unit Award, top 5 of 90. Several years ago, we received the Winston P. Wilson Trophy for Safety, one of top 2 units in the Air National Guard. And the one I'm most proud of is while flying in an exercise called Red Flag in Las Vegas a few years ago, probably the largest war game the military puts on for exercises, flying with 22 units, Air National Guard, Air Force, different services, and our international partners. Our aircraft maintenance unit was selected as the #1 of 22 units at that exercise. A huge, huge feat, and we're extremely proud of them. We have a great relationship with the Sioux Falls Regional Airport. Their 2 major runways provide great operational flexibility for us. We provide the primary rescue and firefighting services for the airport, not just the Air National Guard, to the tune of $2 million a year. We have great airspace beginning just 35 miles to the west of Sioux Falls and across the Midwest. We have a great relationship with the City of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, the South Dakota State Legislature, the Governor of South Dakota, and our congressional delegation, Senators Thune and Rounds and Congresswoman Noen. You all and they have done much work on behalf of us in our efforts to procure the F-35. We have a great relationship with our employers. We could not do our mission without our employers. They let their employees come out and work with us 1 weekend a month and deploy overseas when we need them to. In short, we are Sioux Falls. We're your sons and daughters. We're your parents and even your grandparents. We're your students, teachers, firefighters, policemen, women, and policewomen. We're farmers, business owners, doctors, nurses. We encompass the width and breadth of Sioux Falls. On behalf of the airmen, the families, the thousands of the retirees of the South Dakota Air National Guard, we graciously appreciate your support for this F-35 resolution. Mr. Mayor, councilors, good evening. Thank you.
Colonel, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Folks, is there anybody in the audience wanting to speak to this item? Welcome, sir.
I'm Dave Wagner, a citizen of Sioux Falls since February of 1941 when I was a year and a half old, and Dad, the traveling salesman, was moved to Sioux Falls to take over the state of South Dakota. Immensely proud of this city and of the Air National Guard. And my only contribution actually is to the American Legion, where annually I participate in their band. at their annual convention. Now, within the Department of Defense, there is a section called Operational Test and Evaluation, and to be ignored, it would be at the peril of our Air National Guard. The director does an annual report. The last one, last March, his name is Michael Gilmore, and where he laid out the status of the F-35 program, and the considerations that he included are just too compelling to ignore. And because of that, and I'm going to give a little more explanation, but the crux of my message to you is, I think for your protection, for the Air National Guard's protection, some words need to be added to the resolution. First, I'm going to suggest what I think those words should be, and then I want to proceed and give you a little more background and explanation. So if you leave all the words in place and then add, take away the period, but put after assurances from Department of Defense Director of Operational Test and Evaluation that the Air Force's version, which I assume of all the different F-35 versions is the one we're talking about, the Air Force version of the F-35 has passed all tests to be affirmed as combat capable. That's my suggestion. That's 28 words. Okay, why would that be important? Because the Marines ignored his recommendations, and they're not working very good. I mean, they did take early shipment, and it's not clear to me from the Argus what is the timing that we're talking about here, but I will tell you what last March's report of this evaluation guy, he said he didn't expect that they would be combat capable until at least 2022. What is happening to that program? Let me just give you a couple of lines out of 48 pages. Problems with the F-35's flight controls and aerodynamics result in uncommanded wing drop. That is, when under heavy maneuvering, the plane makes sudden movements not initiated by the pilot. 2, during certain maneuvers, the aircraft experiences intense buffeting or shaking caused by the airflow separating and then re-engaging with the aircraft's lifting surfaces. In other words, when the F-35 is pushed hard, as it might be in a combat situation, the aircraft shakes so much that the pilot has a hard time reading the helmet-mounted display that is supposed to provide him or her with enhanced situational awareness. Of the 97 significant safety deficiency recognized by this evaluation section, 27 are what it refers to as Category 1, those that may cause death, severe injury, major damage to the weapon system itself, and or critically restrict the combat readiness capabilities of the using organization. Okay, in conclusion, I just want to say it's a marvelous, marvelous machine when they get the bugs worked out. Much of it is software. There's 8 million lines of software for the airplane, and the maintenance requires, I think it's 24 million lines, and I don't know, in here somewhere it says sometimes the computer can't figure out what's wrong, or it gives something else that's wrong. So I'm saying, if you consider just improving your resolution, because we love the Air National Guard, it's so important, and it's so great, it's the best in the nation, but protect yourself by watching for that annual report next March.
Mr. Wagner?
In other words, consider this, that...
Mr. Wagner, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Really
you don't
appreciate
want
it.
to lose your F-16s until you've got the F-35s in here.
Mr. Wagner, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Councilor Kiley, did you want to read the resolution, please?
Yes, I would like to do that, and thank you for the opportunity. And I do believe that it does an excellent job of doing exactly what we intend, and that is illustrating our support to gain the F-35 here at our Air National Guard base. And it's the South Dakota Air National Guard, I mean, obviously they are serving a very important purpose in defending the nation. But I would have to say that, yes, there's some selfishness involved in this as well, too, because of the impact that the Air Guard has on the Sioux Falls economy. It is tremendous. And so for that reason, the resolution, it is a resolution expressing unwavering support for basing the F-35 Lightning Joint Strike Fighter at Joe Foss Field, 114th Fighter Wing, South Dakota Air National Guard. Whereas the United States Air Force is currently deliberating the location of the F-35 Lightning Joint Strike Fighter. Whereas the F-35 is considered to be the world's most advanced multi-role aircraft, combining advanced stealth capabilities with fighter aircraft speed and agility, fully fused sensor information, network-enabled operations, and advanced logistics and sustainment. Whereas the South Dakota Air National Guard was founded by Medal of Honor recipient and former Governor Joe Foss in 1946 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Whereas the 114th Fighter Wing is a highly decorated unit receiving several awards multiple times throughout the years, including the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award in 2015, 8th time awarded. The Distinguished Flying Unit Plaque in 2016, the 6th time awarded. NGA U.S. Spats Trophy Top Flying Unit in 2014, 4th time awarded, and many more. Whereas the 114th Fighter Wing has served the United States Air Force in 17 deployments and activations since 1993, including Operation Northern Watch, Operation Southern Watch, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and among others. And whereas the 114th Fighter Wing enjoys steadfast support from local citizens, businesses, civic organizations, employers, and elected leaders. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that the Sioux Falls City Council strongly supports basing the F-35 Lightning Joint Strike Fighter at Joe Foss Field, 114th Fighter Wing, South Dakota Air National Guard.
Council, could I get a motion, please? Councilor Vice Chair Kiley, did you want to make that motion, sir?
I'd be proud to. So
Thank
moved.
you. Is there a second? Councilor Erickson's made that second. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Council, that has passed unanimously 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item number 58.
Item 58 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rescheduling the business of the city from the scheduled City Council meeting for Tuesday, October 18th, 2016 to Monday, October 17th, 2016.
Tom, welcome.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Tom Greco, City Clerk. For the past 2 years, the City Council has chosen by resolution, which is in accordance with our ordinances, to move the council meeting to be able to attend the Chamber annual dinner. In this case, this year, the annual dinner or the annual meeting is scheduled for October 18th. This would move it to the Monday, October 17th. If this is passed, then the informational meeting and the Land Use Committee meeting scheduled for that day would be noticed for Monday as well. That's all I have.
Tom, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve this resolution. Thank you. Seconded by Council Vice Chair Kiley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item 59.
Item 59 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards, those being for the Affordable Housing Advisory Board, Percy Mohammed Hungnak Vaughn and Alejandro Alex Ramirez. For the Arena Convention Entertainment Center Board, Ryan Piddle. For Board of Museum Trustees, Pat Starr. For Disability Awareness Commission, Kimberly Huff, Lori Lewiston, Lewison, Sheila Sandness, Walter Schaefer, Tana Zwart. For Falls Community Health Center Governing Board, Cynthia Binkert. For Orpheum Theater Advisory Board of Directors, Abby Bischoff, Nathan Burdine, John McLaughlin, Aaron Ritzma. For Public Parking Advisory Board, Hugh Dodson, Michael Lynch. For Solid Waste Planning Board, Gerald Gherkin. For the Multicultural Coliseum Intergovernmental Board, Michelle Erpenbach.
Councilors, would anybody want to make a motion to approve these items? Councilor Erickson.
I'll make a motion to approve, and then I just want to
Oh, thank you, Councilor Erickson.
Second, Selberg.
Councilor Erickson has made a motion to approve these items, second by Councilor Selberg. Councilor Erickson.
Other than Councilor Erpenbach and Councilor Starr, I'm curious if there's anybody in the audience. I just always like to recognize them if they are. It's not always that they stay to the we end, but just curious if any of those people are here. Stan,
Welcome.
Thanks, Mr. Lynch. Appreciate it, and thank you for your service.
That's Mike Lynch over there in the corner. Is there anybody else? Please introduce yourself. Nate, thank you so much for hanging around, because we don't pay you much on these boards. And well, well, Nate, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. Mike, thank you as well. Anybody else? Well, Councilor Erickson, good catch. Appreciate it. A roll call vote.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I believe you need to take public input.
Very good. Is there anybody who wants to speak to this item? Nate, do you want to speak? No, I don't blame you.
You'll get
Thank
a chance.
you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson? Erpenbach?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Council, thank you. Councilors, any other topics of discussion for tonight?
60. Item 60.
Go ahead and read that, please.
Item 60 is a report of the August 31st, 2016 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within Major Organizational Units.
Thank you. Very good tonight, Tamara. Thank you. Folks, anybody else? Would anybody want to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
So moved. Council Vice Chair Kiley, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Sioux Falls. Make it a great, great night.
Oh.